क्योंकि आप अभी अकेले हैं ना। शेयर स्क्रीन कर सकते हैं। शेयर स्क्रीन हो रहा है अगर कोई है। टाइपिंग
क्या हुआ?
कुछ टाइपिंग कर रहे हैं उसमें आ गया। फॉलो किसी का आया इसका प्रकाश देख लिया स्टार्ट कीजिए। ओह 9 आवर टाइम और आवर टाइम आई थॉट 9 AM आवर टाइम। ओह ओके ओह गॉट इट। I am ready to take class. It's a wrong password. बोलिए ना लिंक को डालने के लिए। दूसरा लिंक को डालने ब्लू वाला। हाँ
पासवर्ड उनको गलत है। पासवर्ड
तो
उनको
बोलिए ना पासवर्ड कहाँ दे रहे हैं।
तो अरे क्या करेंगे? तो लिंक
तो लिंक को दबा देंगे तो डायरेक्ट अपने आप हो जाएगा। पासवर्ड देने से गलत क्योंकि कैप्स लॉक भी ऑन कर सकते हैं। हाँ सब आ जाओ मम्मी पापा। आप फोटो उसका स्क्रीनशॉट नहीं मार सकते हैं।
इसका
मतलब लिंक का उस पे दिखा सकते हैं। प्रेस लिंक
फिर से भेज दें लिंक।
भेज दीजिए और फोटो खींच के कर सकते हैं तो उस पे लाल टिक
ये
कर
लिंक है ना कॉपी इनविटेशन।
हाँ हो गया ना हाँ पासवर्ड लिखिए नहीं कर सकते। अच्छा हाँ एडमिट हुआ हाँ दिखाई तो नहीं दिखाई तो अच्छा कॉपी का करेंगे ओ हाँ हमको देखो
हेलो हेलो।
Hello. Hi, DK. This is
Yes.
Chaitanya and my
Yes,
son
yes,
Karthik
it is audible.
here.
I am audible.
Yeah.
What problem you got from my side? I think from my side there is no any mistake.
Yeah. So I think when we entered the password, it was saying wrong password.
Okay, just
Yeah,
password was changed from a man to DKC. So
Yeah.
just remember this one.
Oh man, DKC. Okay, we're just trying DKC.
Previous was a man, but now DKC. I just changed that one.
Okay. We joined by the link. Whatever the link you give, that's what we joined.
Okay, so,
So the link is
can
going to change.
sorry.
Is the link going to change?
No. Just the first time today, after a long time, just I started this one. So miss, it will be same always.
Same link. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Do you see my son video, or you just seen the audio? Or
Sorry.
Do you see my son's video? Or?
Miss, yes, I hear your sound. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. So can I start the
see
session?
your screen. Yeah, we can see your screen. That's fine.
Okay, fine. Yes, it is excellent. Okay.
Yeah, my son Karthik is here. So
hello, sir. I'm Karthik.
Okay. Hello. What's your good name?
Huh?
What's your good name?
Karthik.
Karthik. Okay, Karthik. So today, due to technical issue, so means we face some problem. No problem. So means I will continue the session. But today I'm going to start the session. Okay. Okay, Karthik.
Yeah,
So
okay.
without wasting time, just let me start the session. Okay, Mr. Chaitanya ji. So I'm going to start the session. But
Sure.
before starting the session, Mr. Karthik, means I would like to know about yourself because you are going to start learning C++. So means my expectation is what means you must be strong in the C. Okay, definitely
Okay.
means otherwise what I have to do means I should cover the basic about the C also. So I would like to know your depth, what is your depth about a C? Understand my points or not? But don't worry, maximum I will take 1 week maximum time to recover the C concept in the C++.
Okay.
Getting my points, Karthik?
Yeah, I am brand new to C and C++.
So you completed C, total C?
I did not complete C. I haven't learned C.
So directly you are going to start the C++?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I talk to your father? Mr. Chaitanya is your father?
Yeah. 1 minute.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming right now.
Okay, no problem.
1 minute. My father's here.
Hi.
Hi, Chaitanya ji. Actually, I expected Mr. Karthik has finished the C language, but now I understand he doesn't know the C. Directly he is starting C++. So what I have to do I have to cover this C concept in the C++.
Okay.
So obviously it will take much time because C foundation in the C++ it is compulsory. Without understanding the foundation of C it is tough to understand the C++, Chaitanya ji.
Sure. He has good experience with Python, so I think picking C may not be a difficult
Okay,
thing.
so what discussion discussion have been done with you? I was expecting just starting the C++, but it is not the case. I think at least 2 weeks, minimum 2 weeks time I have to spend on the C foundation, but in the C++.
Sure. No worries. Go ahead.
Okay, so don't blame me, why you are taking too much time, etc. So this is the problem.
No worries. Take your own time and teach him.
Okay, fine. Chaitanya, just.
Thank you.
Mr. Karthik?
Yes.
Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm just getting the notebook ready.
Can I start the session, Karthik?
Yeah, just give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. I'm ready now. Sorry for taking some time.
Okay. What problem you have?
Oh, I just wanted to get the notebook. It was a bit hard to find. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, everything's okay now.
Okay, fine. Just you will ask me.
Yeah. I'm ready, sir. Hello? Hello, sir?
Hello. Yes, Karthik.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay, fine. So starting the C++, but as I told you, means I have to cover the C concepts, C foundation concept, but in the C++. Okay, means I won't touch the C syntax, but I will touch the C concept in the C++. Getting my points, Karthik?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for my information, do you have any programming language experience? Any programming language?
Yeah, I've done some Python and
Okay.
some HTML. Like,
Okay, okay. Don't count HTML in the programming language here. That is not helpful here. But Python means it might help you. Okay, no problem. So starting the session. So, but one more point, as I WhatsApp means I have to take, because my Zoom is not allowing me to take the 40 minutes time. Okay, so I will take the 2 regular session. Okay, before 40 minutes I will stop, and again within 1 minute I will start the session. Got my point, Karthik? So immediately you have to click on that link, same link. Okay, so see here, starting the C++.
Is it the same link or different link?
Same link.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Okay, if change in case of changing, then I will provide you. Okay, this will be the same always, no problem. Okay, so see here, but see here, Karthik, means I don't want to waste time means in teaching so many basic things. Means I will touch only important points which is necessary in the programming aspect. Understand my point? Okay,
Yeah.
so rest means you will have to read from any another source. Okay, so it will save my time, and also it will save your time also. But it otherwise what happens, Karthik, means it will take 6 months time. So means we can't spend 6 months time on the C++. Got my point? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So starting the C++. So see here, actually our so we will discuss one by one is things agenda. First, what is our agenda? What is the prerequisite? So brief story I will discuss about the C++. What is object-oriented programming? And what is the common terminology used in the OOP? OOP means what? Object-oriented programming. and also I will give you what a brief introduction about the 3 pillars in the any OOP language. Okay, so see here, actually you say means you know the Python. Your Python also supports the OOP language, OOP concepts. Means Python also is called object-oriented programming language. C++ is also called object-oriented programming language. So, but what is the OOP concept? So I will discuss about this one. But see here then discussing what a very first programming in the C++, not in the C. Then explanation, etc. So understand C++. So see here, Karthik, as I told you, prerequisite. What is the prerequisite for understanding the C++? Obviously, definitely you must know the C. Means if you are not strong, at least you must have the average knowledge on the C language. Got my point?
Yeah.
Not very good, but average knowledge, you must possess this C language knowledge. Only then you can start your journey in the C++. Otherwise, it is means very difficult for both of us. Understand? So spend more time on the C language in these 2 weeks. Okay, until I start the actual C++. Understand, Karthik?
Yeah.
Means 1 week plus 1 week. I will total focus on the C concept, but in the C++. Understand? Okay.
Yeah.
So fine. So this is the prerequisite. So first, discussing about the brief history. So see here, C++. Actually, you know, C designed by which one? Dennis Ritchie. Already you know. You might know that one. But after that, John Strostrup in the 1979 at the Bell Laboratories in Murray Hill, he invented the C++ language. Okay. Next one. John Strostrup initially called this language C with classes, not C++. C++ was given the name later, but initially this was called the C with classes by the John Strostrup. Okay, Karthik. Next,
Yeah.
so in the 1983, this name was changed from the C with classes to C++. So just I'm discussing the brief story. You should know about that one. So invention of C++ was necessitated by one major programming factor, that is increasing complexity. Look at this point. What do you mean by increasing complexity? First, let me discuss this one. Suppose you are developing the software and it take 1,000 lines of code. Okay, fine. So then later it might be in through 5,000 lines of code. I'm talking before the C++ software design in the C language. So what was problem arised means when number of lines become larger, then there came the difficulty. That's why to solve that difficulty, means C++ was invented by John Strostrup in 1979. Understand, Karthik?
Yeah. So
Okay.
C++ was created to minimize code size.
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yes, definitely. Suppose I'm giving a simple example. Suppose you are designing software and it took in the C language, it took 1,000 lines of code. But if you involve the OOP concept, that is, if you are going to design in the C++, means 75% number of lines code is reduced. So this is the ratio. Means what? Just 1/4. Means only 250 lines of code you can design that software. I hope you understand that point. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is this point, increasing complexity, that is resolved by the C++. Understand? So obviously each and everyone may want to learn the C++ language instead of the C language. Get my point, Karthik? Okay. Okay, fine. Then, so what is the purpose of C++? So it is just allowing the barrier. What type of barrier? Just I discussed this now, increasing the number of lines. This barrier to be broken. So this is the purpose of involving C++ concept in your software design. Understand? Next one. So what is the essence of C++? It is to allow the programmer to comprehend and manage larger, more complex programs. Okay, so this is the essence. Obviously.
One question, sir.
Sorry.
One question.
Yes,
The
tell me.
purpose is to allow the barrier increase number of lines.
Yes,
to grow.
see here, Karthik, this is the PPT, means I'm not I didn't mention each and every points here. Just in the short, I'm trying to right? Okay, and discussing that point. So I told you, means in the C, it means it will take 1,000 lines of code to design any software, but involving the C++, only it will take 250 lines of code. So increasing
okay.
complexity, that barrier is broken through the C++. Got my point?
Okay.
Okay. So Strostrup states that some of the C++ object-oriented features were inspired by another object-oriented language, and that is what is called Simula. See here, one very big point here. Before starting the C++, means actually there was also the OOP language that is called Simula 67. Got it? So John Strostrup took the concept of the Simula 67 and involved that concept in the C language. So mixing C and Simula 67 OOP concepts means it is the blending of two languages. One is the C language, another is what Simula 67. Now forming the new language that is called C++. Got my point at this point, Karthik?
Yeah.
It is clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, what do you understand by this point, last point? Actually, C++ concept is not totally designed by the John Strostrup. Before C++, already there was what Simula 67, which already have the concept of the OOP. Okay, so John Strostrup took those concept of the OOP and involved into the C language. So making the new language, that is what C++. Understand? So obviously C++ represents the blending of two powerful programming methods. Which one you tell me? Blending of which two languages? C language and
Simula 67.
yes,
and
fine, excellent, Karthik. Okay, so already you understand this point. Next, so since it was first invented, it has undergone say 3 major revisions. Here, Karthik, time to time, if you invest something, time to time, after 5 years, 10 years, or something else, means what they is changing on that product. So 3 major revisions was done in the C++. With each, what happens, adding the new concept in the previous one. Okay, so new revision, that is what which each adding to and altering the language. So the very first revision was in the 1985, and the second was in the 1990, and the third occurred during the standardization of C++. See here, Karthik, actually invented by the Strostrup, but after few years, it becomes so popular that means what ANSI and what ISO, both organization what makes this as the standardization. So it is called what? Standardization of C++. Means you can say, means we have the two traditional, so 2 types of C++. One is what? Traditional C++, another is what? Standard C++. We are going to learn the standard C++. Understand, Karthik? Okay. Means what is the, once again, you tell me, what's the difference between traditional C++ and standard C++? Why we are going to learn standard C++? Why not traditional C++?
Because standard C++ was created after it became more widely used, right?
Yes, means more features are added into the traditional. So it is standardized. So obviously, it is better to learn the standard of any product. Yes. Okay, instead of the traditional one. Okay. So toward that end, a joint ANSI and ISO standardization committee was formed. So the very first draft was done in the 1994, Karthik. Okay, the very first draft by the both what about ANSI and ISO. Okay, in that draft, ANSI ISO C++ committee kept the features first defined by Strostrup and added some new features. Okay, as well. But in general, this initial draft reflected the state of C++ at that time. So it is actually the standard C++. Okay, fine. So I hope it is enough information for you. So the final draft was passed out of the committee in 1997, and ANSI ISO standard for C++ became a reality in the 1998. So actually, means it became very popular by the ANSI team and the ISO team in which year? 1998. Before this year, means people learned the traditional C++, not a standard C++. Means this information is sufficient for you or not, Karthik? It is fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay. So this specification for C++ is commonly referred to as a standard C++. Okay, fine. So it is enough. So this is the version of C++ created by the ANSI or ISO Standardization Committee, and it is the one that is currently accepted by all major compilers. Also, this is the main points. Each and every compiler developer means it is supported by each and every compilers nowadays. Okay, but if you are using the traditional C++, there is no guarantee to execute your code by one compiler and execute your code by the another compiler. There is no guarantee. But in case of standard C++, there is a 100% guarantee to execute your code by each and every compiler. It doesn't matter which compiler you are using, Karthik. Understand? Okay, fine. So I hope it is enough. Now coming on the object-oriented programming concepts. Again, I hope, Karthik, you know the Python. So can you tell me frankly, in the Python, you just know the basic Python, or you know the OOP concept in the Python?
We got to part of OOP in Python. Part two.
Just basic of the Python.
Yes, basic OOP.
Okay. So it means you don't have any idea about the OOP. Means you are learning. Means you are listening first time the OOP word.
No, we already did OOP.
Okay, fine. So see here, Karthik, for each and every OOP language, whether it is the C++, whether it is the Python or any more, okay, means in all language, OOP language, there are three pillars. Okay, each and every language must support these three pillar concept. What are these one? First one is what? Encapsulation. Second is what? Polymorphism. Third is what? Inheritance. So what are these three things? You have doubt?
What were the three pillars again?
Encapsulation, polymorphism, and what? Inheritance. These three concepts means each and every OOP language must support this one. If anyone lacks any one among these three, means that is not called the OOP language. Got it? Don't worry, miss. Just listen on the theoretical concept. Miss, later when we come in the programming person, you will definitely enjoy this theoretical concept in the programming aspect. Understand my point?
Yes.
This time just focus on means what is the encapsulation. So in this time, obviously you can't understand 100% about the encapsulation, about the what polymorphism, about the what inheritance, until you finish the programming in these three things. Understand, Karthik? So just wait for that. Okay. Okay, fine. So any object-oriented programming drove the creation of the C++. So see, OOP is a very powerful way to approach the job of the programming. So programming methodologies have changed dramatically since the invention of the computer, primarily to accommodate the increasing complexity of program. Already I discussed this point, and you have got this point. Why it is very popular? Okay, due to that, means it is breaking that barrier. Okay, means reducing the number of lines of code. Okay, so so as once again here, as programs continued to grow, the high-level language were introduced that gave the programmer more tools with which to handle the complexity. So 1960s gave birth to structured programming. So once again, one term come here, Karthik. What do you mean by structured programming? Without wasting time, see here, your C language is called totally a structured programming language. Okay, but C++ is not called a structured programming language. C++ is called what? Object-oriented programming language. Why? Any structured programming language doesn't have the feature like encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Understand? So what is the example for the structured programming language? Very simple. C and the Pascal is the best example for the structured programming language. Okay. So structured languages are characterized by their support for standalone subroutines, for local variables, for the reach control structures, etc. Okay. So although structured languages are a powerful tool, they reach their limit when a project becomes too large. That same thing when number of lines becomes very high. So their problem is arise the problem. So prior to the invention of the OOP, many projects were nearing the point where the structured approach no longer worked. So object-oriented methods were created to help programmers break through these barriers. So I hope this is enough information for you. So once again, so object-oriented programming took the best ideas of structured programming and combined with them with the several new concepts about the OOP concepts. So in the most general sense, yes, just focus at this point, Karthik. So a program can be organized in one of the two ways. We have the two techniques around, means organizing our code program around its code, and second is what, around its data. So your C supports the first one, means program is organized around its code. But any OOP language, for example, C++ and Python, means it is organized around its data. So once again, you may have some confusion, but try to understand. Around its code means what is happening actually, and around its data means who is being affected. Again, see here, Karthik, until you finish the C, until you enter into the C++, you can't understand this concept fully. Okay, so wait for that time, Karthik. So using only structured programming techniques, programs are typically organized around the code. And this approach can be thought of as the code acting on the data. Don't worry, it is not the point in which at the first time you will understand 100%. Don't worry. Understand, Karthik? Okay. Okay, so OOP are organized around the data, but your C are organized around the code. Remember these two things. Okay, C is organized around the code, and OOP, C++, Python are organized around the data, with the key principle being data controlling access to the code. So here we define the data and the routines that are permitted to act on that data. So a data type defines precisely what sort of operations can be applied to that data. Already you have the idea about the data type variable. Suppose int num. What do you mean by int num? Int num means I am declaring the variable named what num. And what is int? Int is the data type. Already you have the idea about that one. So, but in C++, Karthik, concept is totally different. Means it works on class and object. Once again, Karthik, in the C, we have the data type, we have the variable. Means I'm declaring so many variables of the particular data type. But in C++, totally different concepts. In C++, we have the class, and we are going to create so many objects for that class.
Yeah.
Try to understand only 50%. If you understand 50%, it is enough. Just wait for the programming person. Understand, Karthik? So just try to take the difference between C and C++. Once again, in the C, you are writing like int num. Okay, so num is the variable and int is the data type. But in C++, you will write like what? My class, my object 1, my object 2, my object 3. Means totally all concepts are based on class and object. Okay, understand, Karthik? Just a small things. Okay, so last 3 points which I discussed just 5 minutes back. All OOP languages have the 3 traits in the common. Very first, encapsulation. Second one, polymorphism. And third one, inheritance. Okay, not only the C++, any OOP language, whether it is the Python, whether it is the Simula67, whether it is the C++, means it must support these 3 things: encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Okay, so once again, Karthik, means I would like to convince these 3 points in the short. Okay, if you understand only 10%, means it will be fine for both of us, for me also and for you also. Means, are you ready to understand these 3 things now, or we should wait?
I think we can go. Yeah,
Sorry?
go ahead.
Sorry,
We can go ahead.
your voice is not clear. Mr. Should I discuss a small discussion? Should I give a small discussion about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so see here. Actually, Mr. First, let me start the very first simple thing. Encapsulation. Very simple way. Encapsulation means what? Data hiding. Means you are creating something and you are hiding that things from the outside world. Means no general people can interact that portion. Only special people can interact that one. Means once again, you are hiding each and every main information for that device, for that class for that object to the external world. Means you are not giving privileges to the general people. You will give only a small interface to the general people to interface that object. Understand the point?
Yeah.
So what that is what concept and encapsulation in the C style structured programming. There is no concept of the data heading. Means each and every general people can utilize your code, but here when you involve the class and the object concept, means only people who has the access on the function, only that people can call that one. Just remember that this is enough. Getting it, Miss? I hope, Miss, 10. If you get 10%, it will be fine for us, for both of us. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now come on the what, Miss? Miss, I would like to give you an example. Suppose I'm taking the example for the car. So you purchase the car. Miss, what are the interface in the car? You have the steering, you have the what, clutch, you have the brake, etc. Now you tell me, Karthik, Miss, we are the general people. Means can we interact with the internal portion of the machine of the car?
No.
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 Means we people have the only interface, that is a string, that is a brake, etc. Means using this, means we can interact with the internal portion. Means directly we can't interact with the internal portion of the car. Yes or no? So what is the concept involved here? Means data hiding and encapsulation concept. Means that is means all internally machinery are hidden from the external world, from the external people. Only external people are given what the interface. That interface is what brake, clutch, gear, etc. Understand, Karthik?
Yeah.
Miss, I hope, Miss, you get a 10%, more than 10%, definitely. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now coming on the polymorphy. In the polymorphy, what happens? Means what, one interface but multiple methods. We have the concept. We have the only one interface, but we can do some activity, different activity using that same what interface. So one interface, multiple methods. Means I would like to give you a very best example. Means suppose I take the what, dog, example of dog. Okay, so assume this time dog is the object. Okay, and what is the what is the methods? It has what, bark, what, eat, to bark, etc. Okay, so see here, suppose you touch the dog's what, leg, what happens? It might bark on you. Suppose you feed, you supply the bread to the dog, what happens? Means it is loving you, etc. Means interface is only one, but different methods we have. Understand the points? So coming on the programming portion, we will have the only one what, a function name. Just coming on the programming portion, we will have the only one function name or method name, but we have so many activities. Means by calling that same interface, we will execute different activities. Got my point? This point?
Yeah.
In the C, it is not possible. In the C language, what you have to do, you have to write, suppose, giving the best example, means suppose you have to write the function for adding two integer numbers. Again, second function you have to write what, adding two double numbers. Suppose third one, adding two, one is the float, one is the integer. So what you have to do in the C, you have to write three different functions. Suppose my add one, my add two, my add three. But in the OOP language, C++, it is not the case, Karthik. In the C++, only you have to write the only one function, that is my add. But you have to define different activities. Okay. So compiler will pick the particular activity, that is particular method, which you want to execute. So this is the concept. Means what? One interface, multiple methods. I hope, Miss, obviously more than 20% you have the concept about encapsulation and polymorphy.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, now coming on the inheritance, Karthik. Again, what do you mean by inheritance? Means what? Taking some quality, taking some special quality from the parent to the child. So that is called what? Inheritance concept. Suppose, means what, we people have hired some properties from my parents. Yes or no? our parents got some features from my grandparent, etc. So what is happening? Means some features are inherited from those upper higher level to the lower level. So that is called inheritance. Now this is the practical, but what is the concept of the inheritance in the OOP language? Come on this point. Again, means there may be difficulty as you don't know the class and object, but try to understand Karthik. Okay, so suppose we have the class 1, so we have the class 2. Class 1 contains some features and class 2 contains also some another features. Now I want to create another class which should contain the features of the both class 1 and class 2. So what I have to do? Means I have to inherit what both class 1 and class 2 features into the third class, class 3. So how it is possible? With with the concept of with involving in inheritance concept, only we can achieve my job. Means we can inherit the features of the class 1, we can inherit the features of the class 2, etc. into the new class. And again, one point, means the two terminology we have, the means which you will understand later. We have the base class, we have the child class. So base class contains the normal features, but child class contains the special features. It contains the features of the base class as well as it contains the feature of the means some new features into. Understand, Karthik?
Yes.
Okay, Miss, definitely more than 20%. Yes, you have got the idea about encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, don't worry, Miss. Obviously, Miss, we are not touching the programming portion here. So when we start the programming portion, then you will understand 100% such concepts. Understand? But before starting the programming, you must know the some theoretical aspects about this one. So can I start the next slide? So up to here, any doubt, Karthik?
No doubt.
And see here, before starting my session, just you have to repeat the previous session. Understand? Okay, I will ask the question. Okay, fine. Next one. So what is the terminology used in the OOP language? So these are, as I discussed some topics, we have the class, we have the object, we have the method, we have the instance variable. Again, it is difficult to understand each and everything 100% here. Okay, so just take 10%, 20%, try to understand. Means what? Just like we have the data type, we have the variable. It means try to understand. In the same way, we have the class and we have the object. Understand? First, we will define the class and then we will create the object. Okay, and in that object, we will have so many methods. We will call such methods. So that object, that method will work on that particular object on which we will invoke that object. And also we have the instance variable. Actually, instance variable is nothing but the object. Both are the same. Okay, instance variable is nothing but what? Any instance of the class. So suppose in this time I designed the class in the programming. Okay, that name is what? My class. Now, and this my class contains some features. Okay, now I'm going to create so many objects, OB1, OB2, OB3. So what happens? All these objects, OB1, OB2, OB3, will have the features of the class which are designed at the time of the creation of the class. Got my point this time? A small idea, just a small idea. And what is the method, Karthik? What is the method? Method, just see, this is nothing but the function. Method is nothing but the function. In the C, you say function, but in the OOP, you should say, means we will use the term method instead of the function. Or you can say member function. Okay, so member function or method. Don't worry, so just wait for that. OOP programming concepts. Okay, so it is clear, not Karthik? Up to here?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, so a small discussion, just a class can be defined as a template. You can say it is, see here, Miss, I'm giving one best example. Suppose you are making the building. Before starting the building, what you are doing? You are developing the map. Yes or no? So according to that map, means engineer starts developing the building. Okay, so in this case, your map is the class and your actual building is the what object. So I hope you have more than 25% idea about class and object from this example, Karthik.
Yeah.
Map, and you have the building. So map is not the actual instance. It doesn't have the what physical existence, but your building has physical existence. So you can relate, means object is what physical existence, but class is not. Class just defines the nature, shape and nature of the object. Once again, very important points. Class defines only shape and nature of that object, but object has the physical existence. What do you mean by physical existence here? Means it has the memory in the RAM when you have the object, but simply defining the class means there is no allocation in the memory. It is enough for understand this point. So
Yeah.
a class can be defined as a template or blueprint that describes the behaviors or states. Okay, fine. Now come about the object. So objects have states and behaviors. Two things you have: states and what we have the behavior. So what is the difference between these two things? Very simple. Suppose taking the example of the dog. Dog has the color. Dog has the activity barking, eating, etc. So barking, eating, etc. These are the behaviors. But color, etc. These are what states. So this is the difference. So each and every object of the particular class have the states and have some behaviors. And how such comes? So you have to design such features, means which type of states and which type of behaviors you have to design. You have to involve such activity in the class definition. That's why defining the class is the major role in this understand? Okay, miss, it is the actually engineering work. Creating object is not the engineering work, Karthik. Any person, any what layman people can create the objects, but only good C++ programmer can design the class. After designing class, creating an object is the fun. Understand, Karthik? Okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay. Now I gave the example. Same example. A dog has just its color. It has the name. It has the breed as well as what behaviors is what wagging, barking, eating. So these are the difference between states and the behaviors. So once again, each and every object has two things. It has the states. It has some behaviors. Now, so an object is an instance of a class. I already discussed these points. So now coming on the methods. So same thing related to that one. So a method is basically the behavior. Okay, same thing. Method is nothing but the behavior. Which type of behavior you want? So you have to design the code in the particular class. So a class can contain many methods. It is in methods where the logics are written, data is manipulated, and all the actions are executed. Very important points in the methods. Once again, Karthik, I mean, this is the methods where all the logics are written, data is manipulated, and all the actions are executed. Okay. So means where we can do such activity in the object or in the class. One small question, just I am testing you. Means we should write all such activity in the class, into the class or into the object.
Object.
No, in the class. I told you it is the engineer's work, designing the class, creating object. That is the fun. Understand? Creating object, that is the very simple. Means you have to involve all the logics about the states, about the behaviors into the what designing of the class. That is the toughest work, Karthik. Okay. Okay, creating an object, that is the fun. Calling the methods on that object, that is the fun. Understand? Okay, fine. So what is instance variable? Same thing like an object. Means no difference between the object and the instance variable. Both are the same technically. So each object has its unique set of instance variables. Now, an object state is created by the values assigned to this instance variable. Very simple. Don't worry. So again, I discussed about these 3 points. What are the 3 pillars in any OOP language? Once again, just try to discuss encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Not for the C++ guys, but also for the what? Any OOP language, whether it is the Python, etc. So once again, just I tried to give you a small discussion here. So it is the mechanism that binds together code and the data it manipulates and keeps both safe from the outside interference and misuse. Again, Karthik, 100% you can't understand until you start the programming. So just manage this one. Take this concept. Got it? Got my points? Just remember, but you must remember the points, concept. So encapsulation is the mechanism which binds together both code and the data. Again, one point, two difference. What's the difference between code and data? So your code is nothing but your logic, Karthik. All logic. So obviously all logics are written in the function body, yes or no? So that is
Yes.
the code. And data is nothing but what normal variable, int, num, char, gender, etc. So these are the data. So you have the two things. You have the data, you have the code. Okay. So main things is the code. So encapsulation binds the both things, code and the data. Okay. And also it keeps a safe from the outside interference and misuse. Now in OOP language, code and data may be combined in such a way that a self-contained black box is created. When code and data are linked together in this fashion, then an object is created. So in other words, an object is the device that supports encapsulation. Okay, it is understood. So within an object, we have the code, we have data, or both may be private or public to that object. Again, new point come here, Karthik. Try to understand. Okay, means don't wait for the programming portion. At least 25 to 30% get the concept from the theoretical session, and remaining 75% will be taken from the programming aspects. Am I right or wrong? Okay, so try to understand. So two things we have. We have the terminology private and public. In this time, try to understand means for each and every object, for every member. So means we have the two terms. What do you mean by this one? If we use the private word, what happens? Only using the private word, we will achieve the encapsulation concept. Means we will hide that information. But if we use the public, that what happens? There is no concept of the encapsulation. Means each and every general people can interact that one. Okay. So in the means getting encapsulation concept, we must use the private keyword. And what is this one? Just wait for that time. In this time, so just try to understand what the difference between these two things. Using the public access specifier, what happens? Your all the object members, whether it is the data, whether it is the methods, means that will be accessible by each and every from the outside, from the outsider. Okay. But if you use the private, what happens? Means you are restricting such things. Means any normal people can't access that things. Got it? Not 25% you are getting this point or not? Private or public?
Yeah.
Okay, simple. Remember, using the private, you are getting the benefit of the encapsulation. Using the public, you are not hiding your data. Understand? That's enough in this time. So private code or data is known to and accessible only by other part of the object. Then again, question come. Then who will access in case of the using private? Who will access that part? This is the question. Again, you have to wait, Karthik, for the programming portion. Okay. So there is a way how to access that portion. Understand? So we will discuss that way later. So that is private code data may not be accessed by a piece of the program that exists outside of the object. When code or data is public, other parts of your program may access it even though it is defined within an object. So any confusion in this slide, Karthik? You have you have an idea about encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. Sorry, yes, tell me.
Basically, encapsulation is a property that allows you to make your data private or public on your wish, and that helps to protect privacy, right?
Yes, yes. Means we are getting to we are protecting our device. Means so that means outside of this device, no one can disturb this one. Understand? But we will provide only a small interface to that user, so that user can interact that one.
So
What my point?
would it be like a social media? So let's say we have Facebook account.
That is yes, that is don't take that example here. Means you may be confused. Take the example of the best example is the car, Karthik. in the car, means suppose we have the string, we have the brake, means we can't interact the internal machinery, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so data is hidden. Data is totally hidden from the external people. So coming
Yeah.
on the programming portion, means in the class design, we will use the private keyword. So for hiding that portion, if we use the public, there is no encapsulation concept involved. Okay, Karthik? Fine.
Okay.
So typically the public parts of an object are used to provide a controlled interface to the private elements of the, so this is the answer. Okay, so means what is means typically public parts and objects are used to provide a controlled interface to the private elements of the object. Means once again, directly another people can't access that portion, but that general people can use the public parts, and the public portion of that object has the right to interact with the private portion of that object. So this is the way. Okay, so don't worry, when Miss coming on the coding portion, then you will understand fully this portion, Karthik. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Now coming about the discussing about polymorphism, already I discussed, but once again it is characterized by the phrase one interface but multiple methods. In simple terms, polymorphism is the attribute that allows one interface to control access to a general class of actions. Miss, remember, Karthik, that a simple example. Addition of two integer number, addition of two double number, addition of two integer and a float number. So you have to design three different functions, Karthik. My add one, my add two, my add three. But in the OOP concept, no need of writing three different names. Using only one name I will use, my add. And using my add means what? It will means our compiler will pick up the particular one and execute that portion. But as a programmer, obviously we have to define the three different methods activities. But what is the benefit for the polymorphism? We will have only one interface. What is that interface? My add. But in C, a structured program language, we had my add one, we had my add two, my add three. Getting the difference in the C and C++ about polymorphism.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember it has only one interface but multiple methods. Means only one interface you can execute so many methods depending on the situation. And what is the situation I don't discuss in this time. Okay, so we will have to wait for the programming portion. Now it is the compiler's job to select the specific action, that is method, as it applies to each situation. So the first programming languages were, again, last point, it may be confusing for you, but it is the best point. Means already you might know about the interpreters. Means what the difference between compiler and interpreter, Karthik? There is difference. I hope you know that one, the difference. What the difference between compiler and interpreters? I want to check you also. Means what knowledge my students capture?
Correct. Compilers, they take the code and break it into chunks, and interpreters. I'm not entirely sure on interpreters.
See, compiler means compiles and executes all lines of codes together. But in case of interpreter, it compiles and executes one by one. Remember this point. Understand?
Could you say that again?
Means execute one by one, line by line.
Interpreter does line by line.
Yes, just remember this point. Okay, this is a permanent definition. Whether you have the, and what is the example for the interpreter? Do you know the shell scripting language in the Linux? No. So your shell scripting language is the interpreter. Your Python also comes in the interpreter. Means executes one by one, line by line. But your C executes all lines of codes together. Understand? It is enough for you or not? So remember this point always, the difference between compiler and interpreters. So here, so first OOP language were interpreters. So polymorphism was of course supported at runtime. Again, I'm not discussing what is compile time, what is runtime. There is a difference between these two words, compile time running and runtime running. Okay, so wait for the next one. What? However, C++ is a compiled language Therefore, in C++, both runtime and compile time polymorphism are supported. But it is better to give you the concept about runtime. Do you know about dynamic memory allocation? Some idea about that? DMA, Karthik?
I believe I do, but I haven't heard the name.
See here, in the dynamic memory allocation, I'm missing the C, you have the malloc function, calloc function, means, means you are allocating memory in RAM at the runtime. Okay, so that is called runtime. But suppose you write some program and you execute, memory is allocated, suppose int num, etc. So here memory is allocated at compile time. But in case of dynamic memory allocation, memory is allocated at runtime. So this is the difference. Okay, so this C++ supports both runtime and compile time polymorphism. Understand, Karthik?
Yes.
So now discussing the last point about the inheritance. So as I discussed, again, once again, it is the process by which one object can acquire the properties of the another object. Very simple. It inherits, means in technical word, means we have the two classes, base class, we have the child class. Okay, so child class, sorry, means we have the parent, we have the child. So obviously child is inheriting some property from the parent. Yes or no? So
Yes.
Child is called what? Derived class, and parent is called what? Base class. So we have the two terminology in the OOP, base class and derived class. So base class contains the normal features and derived class contains the normal feature of the base class as well as some extra features. Understand? So
Yes.
it is the process by which one object can acquire the properties of the another object. It supports the concept of the classification. Without the use of classification, each object would have to define explicitly all of its character, giving you, and I'm trying to give you the good concept about this. Suppose you are designing the class for anything. Later, again, means you need to design another class, and that another class should need 80% of your activity related to the previous class. So what you have to do? What is the general concept? You have to design the class, Karthik, from the initial to the last. So it is obviously a waste of time. But using the inheritance concept, what happens? You will simply inherit the features of the previous class. Okay, and you will put that into the newer class. Okay, so what benefit you will get? You tell me. Obviously, 80% writing code means that will be saved. You don't need to write 80% of code. Only you will need to write the code 20%, which is the extra features needed. Got my point, Karthik? This one?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously this is a strong concept in the OOP. Next one, however, through the use of classification, an object need only define those qualities that make it unique within its class. So it is the inheritance mechanism that makes it possible for one object to be a specific instance of a more general case. So see here, Karthik, just try to understand. This is the very first program in the C++. Try to understand. Okay, so this is the look of the C++. So once again, Miss, in this I'm trying to convince you. Okay, so that very soon you will start enjoying the C program. So we have the hash include IO string, and we will have the what using namespace std. So see here, Karthik, for your information, it is better to concentrate on the middle portion, means the code existing within the curly brace. In each and every program, means outside of this curly brace, this is the same. Got my point? I will discuss one by one, time to time. Understand? Means I can't give you 100% effort on discussing all such things. Understand, Karthik? Just for your information, you know, you have the header file, etc. Okay, so that is the same thing in the C language. We have stdio.h, we have conio.h, we have string.h, but in C++, totally different concepts. Here we have what IO stream, means in the C++ don't involve the .h extension. There is totally huge difference. Okay, this is the difference. What is the another difference, Karthik? So using the namespace std, this one, using namespace std, this is that another difference in the C++. Now rest is the same. Again, just focus on the what inner portion. for printing any information, we have the C out. And for taking any information from the keyboard, we have the what? C in. Got my point, Karthik?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any confusion, any difficulty, try to speak me very frankly. You understand? Because if you don't understand, it is a waste for me, for you also to take the new topic. Understand? So don't be agitated. Understand, Karthik? So this time, just focus on what we have in this program. Just focus only on two things. What is two things? See out and see in. What is these things? See out is used for displaying any message on the screen, whereas see in is used to take any data from the keyboard. Just like you, yes,
Oh.
just like you,
So
just like just a minute, you know printf and scanf. Do you know about printf and scanf or not?
Yeah, print and input.
Yes, in the C you have the printf function, you have a scanf function. Yes.
Yeah.
So just like same, printf is printing some information on the monitor, and a scanf is taking the some data from the keyboard. Just like similar to that one, see out is here to print some information on the screen monitor, and see out is for taking some data from the keyboard. Understand? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and also look at the syntax. See out, we have left shift operator, and in the C in we have right shift operator. Got it? We have the two operators, left shift operator and right shift operator, but never say such words which I tell you this time. This is not the left shift operator, this is not the right shift operator, Karthik. Roughly you can say, means what? 2 times less than sign, 2 times greater than sign. Actually, it is the left shift operator, it is right shift operator, but here, in case of C out and C in, these are not called left shift operator and right shift operator. Then what is actually it is called? So first one is called output operator, and second one is called input operator. Remember this one. Understand, Karthik?
Yeah.
For the C out, which type of operator this is actually?
Output.
Yes, output operator. And for the C in?
Could you put the name in the chat? It's input operator.
Input, yes. But without C out C in, which type of this symbol? Which type of this symbol?
The
left shift operator and right shift operator. Understand? Symbol symbol is one, but meaning is two. Two types of operator we have. We have the left shift operator, and also we have the output operator. We have the right shift operator, and we have also the input operator. So don't be confused. Okay, so never say in case of C out or C in, this is the left shift operator and this is the right shift operator. So be cautious about this one. Okay, so I hope, Karthik, you understand this very first program. And what do you mean by single line and here double line? Single line is what? This is the single line comments, and double line is what? Sorry, single line starting asterisk, and what asterisk and what single line means you can use multi-line comments here, right? But for the single line comment, you have to use double slash. So when you have to use the comments, sometimes suppose your program is very lengthy and you want to give the comments so that either you or any another person can understand what is written below. Suppose this code is written addition code. Now below we have the multiplication code. Now below we have some checking the prime code. So it is better to give the comment before starting your code, actual code. Okay. So in this case, what happened, Karthik, actually means your compiler is not compiling such lines. Once again, Karthik, what is the benefit for this one? Compiler is not going to compile such lines whenever you use the such things, double slash or single slash, this one. So this is the single line comments and this is the double line comments. And you tell me, Mr. Should I execute this code now or should I wait? Should I execute this code or should I wait? But I want to give you some, Mr. 2 days, 3 days, some concepts. So what you are thinking?
I got it.
Mr. Tell me, Mr. Should I execute this code or first let me finish some concepts?
You finish the concept.
Okay, fine. So because also Means what is time? So means see here, Karthik, I'm going to stop the session now. Understand? So remember, means same time, but means today is the first. That's why Zoom is allowing me. If Zoom is not disturbing me, means I will continue. Otherwise, I will have to break the session. Means I will take the 2 continuous session. Understand, Karthik? So I hope you will understand this concept. So what is in the next slide? Let me check that one. Okay, express. So this is the totally different thing. So I will discuss this next time, means next year. Okay, Karthik?
Okay.
Okay, fine. Meeting you tomorrow.
Okay.